Today we're talking about the DC Young Fly speech at Rich Homie Quan's funeral. First and foremost, rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan, a legend, rap legend, music legend, Atlanta legend. So DC Young Fly spoke at Rich Homie Quan's funeral, and his speech is going viral. A lot of people found the speech compelling and motivational. Now, unfortunately, although I fully respect DC Young Fly's opinion and his intentions, he wants to give comfort to this family, but I have to voice my disagreement in pushing religion onto more and more people. Let's listen to his speech.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Pastor, I ain't gonna be long. I see it on your face. You like, what I'm here for? First off, we want to say God is the greatest.
You're at a funeral, and the first thing that you say is that your God is the greatest. You're using a man's demise and his passing to promote your religion. I have a serious problem with that. I don't want religion shoved down my throat every single second of every day. Every tragic event, you respond with trying to promote your religion, right? I think that's a little distasteful. Personally, I don't know Rich Homie Quan's family, so I don't know if they're religious or, so I can't personally speak to that. Maybe DC Young Fly knows something that I don't, and he knows that they're extremely religious, so he's gonna preach more things of what they believe. And if that's the case, then to each their own. But in my experience, after tragedies in my own life and from other secular people that found their way out of religion, they have always also mentioned that religious people are always pushing their religion in the midst of tragedy, and it's distasteful. A lot of people aren't trying to hear that when they're going through a tragic event, especially if they're secular, or even a lot of times when people were pushing, when something happened to me, I was still religious at the time, and people were talking about God this, God that, and I didn't want to hear that at the time. During the tragedy, I was busy going through what I was going through, and I wasn't trying to hear them. It was very inorganic, and to me it was distasteful. So I'm speaking from personal experience, but like I said, I want to reiterate that maybe Rich Homie Quan's family is very religious, and DC Young Fly would have a close relationship with them that I don't know about, so I want to keep the door open to that. But if he doesn't know that they're religious, then I do find it distasteful to use a tragedy to push your religion and force feed people the idea of your God. Imagine we're in the hospital and you just got a diagnosis that your 2-year-old kid has brain cancer, and I take that moment, I say, hey, I know your kid has brain cancer and it's 90% terminal, but pray. God gave you this blessing. God is going to give you the strength to deal with your 2-year-old's passing and suffering. I mean, that kind of stuff is disgusting to me. I'll be honest. I'm going to put my foot down. That kind of behavior is disgusting to me. And I'm hoping that DC Young Fly isn't the type to do that. But, you never know. So let's keep going with the video. I mean, I stopped it in the first second, so the first sentence. So that's not a good sign.
All right. And when I talk with passion. So I want y'all to bear with me. Listen closely. Mama, I call you mama. We been introduced since 2003. Big bro. So, it's real family. Corey, what going on? Y'all gave us an icon. Y'all gave us a legend. We all on borrowed time. So the things that he accomplished while he was here, we want to let y'all know that we're going to continue on his legacy. And even through the small amount of time, it made a big impact. You understand? And I know he's the head of the household, and a lot of people in here is probably questioning. There's two ways to ask questions. The first way to ask questions is you're asking because you're trying to learn the knowledge so you can apply it to future understandings. And the second way to ask questions is you're questioning because you want to question the reasoning for what's going on. And the second way of questioning...
So let me just point out, I gotta stop this one more time. He spent 30 seconds listing the accomplishments and talking well about Rich Homie Quan. He spent 30 seconds. That was it. 30 seconds. Every single moment from there is now he already started the rollout for his pitch into his religion, right? He only had 30 seconds of talking about Rich Homie Quan. The rest, it already pivoted to the rollout of, I know people are asking questions. Why? And that's the intro of, well, God knows why. And I find that it's just, the speech is 5 minutes, so it's not like the longest speech. Listen, he knew Rich Homie Quan. I didn't know Rich Homie Quan. But your speech spent 30 seconds talking about Rich Homie and the rest talking about your religion. For me, as a viewer from the sidelines, I just don't see how that's appropriate for a funeral. This is meant to honor him, and you spent 90% of your speech really just pushing your religion. Let's keep going.
Can be disobedience. So we always have to go with the first way of how we ask questions. Not why is this happening? Not why is this happening to me? No, we have to ask God, what is the purpose? What is the lesson?
Gotta stop it again. This is a brainwashed man. And now this is where I have to just speak openly and honestly. This is a brainwashed man. Rich Homie Quan passed away from an overdose. DC Young Fly is not talking about what can we learn about substances and addiction and etc. etc. What DC Young Fly is talking about is, why does God put us through tough times? What lessons can we learn from God's punishments and lessons and divine tests? That's what DC Young Fly is talking about. Because in other contexts, I would have no problem with having a mature conversation about, hey, what can we learn from tragic events in a very secular, realistic sense. He's not talking about that. He's talking about his God doing bad things to you and, oh, what lesson is this? What is the purpose of God doing this to me? It's just a brainwashed mentality. This is a cult mentality. God will do bad things to you, abuse you, do immoral things to you, have you go through pain and suffering, but it's all a test. It's all for a purpose. It's all for his plan that you're too dumb to understand. Don't worry, but he understands because he's just perfect. He's a deity, you know? You're a tiny human. You don't understand this kind of stuff. And that kind of brainwashing is extremely dangerous. If you apply that to any other part of your life, your job, your boss is abusing you and doing things like that because they're smarter than you and they have this plan for the business that you just can't understand, and you aren't owed an explanation for why your boss is abusing you. In any other sense, this would obviously, everybody would agree that this is a terrible line of logic to take down to the ends of the road of where this logic leads, right? But let's keep going.
How do I apply this to my future understanding? Because this the end. He's at peace. One day we too shall do this. He's still leading. He said, I got to go to see what's going on. But as you can see, I'm still leading. You shall follow. So at the end of the day, y'all, Mom, I want to let you know, because we talked yesterday. And when we talked yesterday, I was just observing, and I want you to know that you are being obedient. The way you spoke, your energy, the way you talk, your head. Corey said it yesterday. She said, I'm going off how my mama going. But how you moving, Ma, is how we supposed to move during these times. Because all the morals and the doctrines, this is the only time that we really apply it. When we hurt. Job. Everybody go read the book of Job. Just read the book of Job. He took everything from Job. He kept snatching everything from Job. And Job...
The Bible has stories. The book of Job is to assist and to further the brainwashing. It's a story that they can pull up and say, hey, look at this story of Job. This example shows that God is going to test you and do terrible things to you, and you have to take it. You have to take this abuse. You don't get to ask questions. You're going to take the worst that God can do to you, and you're going to have to take it with a smile on your face too, and continue to praise this God. Because if this was real, if this was a real God, what kind of a God abuses you to test your faith? Or what kind of a God abuses you continuously and does the worst things to you and throws the worst events and the worst luck into your life just as a test to see if you'll what? Praise a deity that you don't need? That's ego. That would be an egotistical God, right? And according to the Bible and according to religion, ego is a negative trait, right? So why would God have a negative trait? None of these things, every time you break it down, none of these things in the Bible ever make any sense. There's no consistency in these morals, right? Ego is a bad trait, but everything that we see, all the characteristics of the God they talk about, is an egotistical God, an immoral God, a disgusting God. If this was someone's boss abusing somebody like this, it would be immoral. We would throw them in jail. If this was somebody's parent abusing somebody like this, we would throw them in jail. If this was somebody's spouse or partner abusing them like this, we would throw them in jail, and we would know that it's immoral. But because it's a deity, you have to take it. You have to take it. And this is the brainwashing. This is the language they use, right? The book of Job preps you for getting abused and tells you have to take it. They're going to point to that. Hey, you got to take it. You got to take this abuse.
Every Christian that, everybody I put so much good into the world. Why so much bad coming to me? He like, you know what? I ain't really been bad to nobody. I just want to talk to him. I want to ask him why. Why he doing this to me? God looked at him and said, who you talking to? Why not you? This is the time for you to praise my name. This is the time for you to tell the other people through the midst of...
I mean, I understand that Daisy Young Fly doesn't speak for God, right? But the God that he's talking about, this is a disgusting creature. Who would talk to somebody like that? Not a loving God, right? I know I took away your kids. I know I took away the love of your life. I know I gave you cancer. I know I made you broke. I know I made you lose your job. I know I made you crash your car. I know I ruined your life and make you suffer every day. But praise my name and take it. Take it like the good little bee that you are, right? Like, this is not good, guys. This is disgusting. This is not a good God, right?
Pain. I'm the one that's giving you the strength, fool.
I give you strength. That's the offer, right? That's the offer. I give you strength. I do the worst possible things to you. But, apparently I give you strength. How do we prove that I gave you strength? Hey, unknown. That was in you already, right? But guess what? Oh, God did it, right? Whenever you can't prove something, God did it, right? When you found your keys, God did it. When you didn't find your keys, he wasn't listening that time.
So when people think you crazy, Mom, you ain't crazy. You being obedient. And I'm here to tell the family, big bro, so it's time to be obedient. It's time to take charge.
It's time to be obedient. Brainwashing. This is brainwashing. This is keeping you. This is what an abuser would say to an abused, to their victim, right? Be obedient. Be obedient. Sit down. Don't fucking talk. Don't fucking cry. Don't complain. Be obedient. Take whatever bad shit I give to you. Take all the bad shit. Take it. And be obedient. Shut up. This is not a good God. And this DC Young Fly video, I'm going to stop it here because I got other stuff to do. But this is... It shocks me that this speech is going viral because of the way that he describes his God. I mean, this is not a good God, right? The way that he's describing this God is not a perfect being in any sense. In any moral sense, the way that he's describing his God doesn't align with morals, right? And I'm going to make a longer video, a whole video about why, if there is a God, that this God could not be moral. It's impossible for this God to be moral if it does exist at all, right? So there's only two options. Either there is a God and he's immoral, or there isn't a God, right? That's the only two options, because if there is a God, he or she cannot possibly be moral because of the reasons I'll talk about in the video. So don't miss that video when it comes out. So turn my notifications on, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment. Let me know what you think.